The liquid culture.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for being here on another episode of The Liquid Culture with me, Mitchell Chirac. Today's episode is one of a series in which I plan to do a few more episodes on here in the near future. It's something that's more kind of a fun and enjoyable thing, not only for you guys, but for me as well. Obviously, I'm the one drinking the stuff, right? But it's something that I don't plan on kind of talking a lot about grape varietals or regions or styles or production processes and stuff like that. It's really more of just an opportunity for me to show you guys how there are some things out there that can really kind of challenge your mindset on how certain things are supposed to taste or can taste or what they should be. And what I'm really kind of talking about, and you'll notice what I have here in front of me, is what, in my opinion, the world of beer and wine are starting to kind of collide and mesh a little bit. And more specifically, things like natural wine and craft beers that are made more in kind of a tartar sour beer style made with fruit. So what we're looking at here is the wines, these natural wines, these natural winemakers, some of the ones who are doing things that are a little bit more fun, a little less serious. They're making wines with higher acidity, lower tannin, fun fruit, fresh fruit characteristics, and the beer producers who are making their beers in more of a kind of tart, acidic style, but then they're re-fermenting them with other fruits, and in particular today with grapes, and more specifically grapes that are actually used in the wine making, in the production of wine, in particular today Sangiovese, which is used all throughout Italy. So again, keeping it super casual. You can see I'm hanging out in the Chesterfield here, t-shirt, just chilling, gonna drink 2 bottles, talk about them a little bit, and have a little bit of fun. Cool. All right, let's get started. We're going to go wine first, guys. We're going to go wine first here. This is a wine that I have not tasted before. Juama, I'm assuming it's Jama. Juama is the producer from McLaren Vale in Australia. This is their Danby, which is 100% Grenache, a grape a lot of times used in blending, but you do see it a lot in California and in places like Spain as a single varietal grape. This is their 2018 Danby. Not sure what to expect in terms of carbonation on this, guys. Natural winemakers are starting to use the bottle caps a lot more to kind of close their bottles, but you never really know if that's an indication of a sparkling wine or not. Right off the bat, the color is really nice and kind of light, kind of very kind of transparent color here. Kind of a nice, almost garnet color, and the aroma right off the bat, I mean, I'm already, like, I haven't even stuck my nose down in here and I'm already smelling these kind of fresh fruit aromas kind of exploding out of the bottle here. Some kind of like tart cherries, dried strawberries. Really just a lot of fruit on the nose. Let's let it kind of see if it might express a little bit more. So I've got this wine. I know it's a red wine, but wines like this, generally you want to drink them a little bit chilled. I would say I've probably got this thing at about 55 right now. I mean, I know it sounds funny, but some Concord grape, funny enough, a little bit of like Concord grape juice, that tart cherry, dried strawberry. Slight fizz. There is a slight little fizz on the palate, almost not even frizzante, which is the Italian term for slightly sparkling. It doesn't even go there yet. It just has a little bit of fizz going on with it on the palate, which is nice. It keeps it kind of nice and light and refreshing. Like I mentioned before, this is kind of what I was expecting, and I was really honestly hoping for, not having tasted this wine. Low tannin, Good fresh acidity, a lot of fresh fruit characteristic, and that slight fizziness. It's not like an intentional carbonation, it's just a slight fizziness from this being like a young, fresh wine. I'm assuming that there was maybe a little bit of some kind of closed fermentation that took place that allowed a little bit of gas to get trapped within the wine. Maybe even could have taken place as a bottle fermentation. We're looking at 13% alcohol on this, so right in line, kind of average alcohol for any still dry red wine. Ultra light, ultra refreshing, not super serious, no real depth of earthiness. There is a slight tinge of minerality, which is pretty nice. It kind of adds to that nice kind of fresh, zesty crunchiness that I'm getting with this wine. But so far I'm really happy, or at least with the wine, with the wine that I picked for this video. Certainly meets my expectations in terms of being that kind of nice, acidic, crunchy, juicy, fresh fruit wine. So that bottle, guys, 33 bucks, I believe. 33 bucks for this bottle. Right off the bat, I mean, I would definitely recommend the wine in this video today. You can get it on Primal. I believe the website is primalwines.com. Primal wine, Primal wines. Ooh, a little bit of sediment on the cap here. I really don't want to. Tart. A little tart. Primalwines.com. I believe it is. I'm sure if you just Google Primal Wines, it'll pop up. They're a really nice little online retailer for natural wines. That's where I got this bottle, and when I made my first purchase on their site, I think I bought like 8 or 12 bottles or something, all of different wines, and I've been happy with all of them that I've purchased. So check out Primal Wines. 33 bucks for the 100% Danby Grenache from Jauma, I don't know, Jauma. Up next, guys, the beer for our little companion here in the beer wine crossover video here today is the Jester King 2017 Beer de Sangiovese. So the beer I want to spend a little bit more time on, because that one might be a little bit odd to most people, in that, wine, this is, natural wine. We've talked about that before. People are kind of aware of this natural wine movement, but basically it's wine made like most other wines, except native yeast, really no filtering or fining, and no additions of sulfur. And, a lot of other stuff goes into it, but that really kind of defines this wine, right? With the beer, this beer, it's made initially like any other beer is made in a brewing process, but it's made in a sour beer style. The yeast that they use are native yeast, so just like with this wine, native yeast has been used in both of these products, the yeast that's kind of natural to that area. And then once the beer is finished fermentation, it goes into barrels and is barrel aged. The way that they say it with this beer is that it was a mature oak aged sour beer. So I'm not sure exactly how long that beer spent in oak, but what they do once the beer is finished aging in the oak, they then take it and they re-ferment it on the Sangiovese grapes. In this particular instance, Sangiovese grapes from the Texas High Plains AVA. So everything about this beer is Texas. They vintage date it 2017, just like you would get with a wine. So this is the 2017 Birra di Sangiovese from Jester King, barrel-aged beer, re-fermented with Sangiovese grapes, unfiltered, unpasteurized, and 100% naturally conditioned, meaning it was carbonated in the bottle with yeast and not force carbonated. 7.4% alcohol. Remember, 13% here, 7.4% here. You'll notice, obviously, there is a size difference in the two bottles, but 20 bucks for this at 500 milliliters, $20 for this Jester King beer, and we were $33 for 750 milliliters here, which actually comes out, I ran the math, guys, actually comes out to about 4 to 4.5 cents per milliliter. So you've got essentially the same price per milliliter for both this wine and this beer. So, Birra di Sangiovese 2017 from Jester King, beautiful color. I've actually got a little sediment swirling around in the glass there. Again, this is an unfiltered, unpasteurized beer, so it is a living product. Much like the wine, you have a living product inside of this beer bottle, so this beer will continue to develop and change over time as it is bottle aged. I've had this beer for, I want to say, a little over a year now, but it is a 2017. I believe they released this beer in the fall of 2017. So in fact, we're coming up on about 2 years of age on this beer. And I have aged other Jester King beers in the past, and they do change. They do 100% develop. They change their flavors. They change their textures, their aromas. They all change over time. It is a really, really cool thing, guys. It's a lot like the world of wine. On the nose, tart. It's got a tartness, an acidic. You can smell the acidity on the nose. I've talked about it once. I'll talk about it a million times. Jester King, the beers have this essence. You can smell it on them. All of their beers have this similar. They all differ in terms of the overall aroma from beer to beer, but they all have this underlying Jester King essence that is on all of them. It's this barnyardy, hay, dusty, just this very like unique terroir to the nose of Jester King beers. I would say it definitely has additional aromas beyond the malt, beyond the sour yeast component. It does have fruit components on the nose. This one is very similar in that it takes on kind of a tart cherry aroma on the nose, very similar to the wine. Sharper acidity than the wine. Funny enough, a sharper acidity on this beer than in the wine. It's making my mouth water. It's this lingering acidity. God, I've still got, it's this lingering acidity. It's hanging on my palate here, but it is incredibly well balanced with the overall body that you get from it being a beer instead of a wine. I would say that it is a fuller mouthfeel than the wine, for sure, but with a lot of, one of the things that you don't have with this beer that you get with a lot of other beers is there's not an incredible hop bitterness. So the IBUs on this beer are only about 9, which is relatively low for beer. So hop profile is not coming through really on this beer at all. If anything, it is just there as a slight bitterness to balance out any sort of malt sweetness or fruit sweetness in this case, because it was re-fermented with the grapes. But really well balanced, guys. I mean, there's not something that I've talked about with Jester King beers before, and this one absolutely falls into that same category, is the fruit, malt, hop, yeast, acidity, none of it, I would say that maybe if anything, the acidity is a little bit higher than everything else, but other than that, everything else is beautifully well balanced. Nothing is really like punching you in the face in terms of its flavor or aroma. Just a really easy drinking beer. Not only a beer just to sit down and drink, but a food pairing beer. I would say actually more so I would be pairing this beer with food than I would this wine. This wine is more something that I would just sit out on the porch and slam when it's hot outside and you need something to kind of cool you down. This beer I would absolutely pair with some food, and in fact have a little bit of, or made a little bit of barbecue pulled chicken in the Instapot today. Super #basic, but barbecue chicken as a little weekday meal in the Instapot is going to pair really nicely, I think, with this Sangiovese sour beer from Jester King. But the point of this video was to talk about how the world of beer and the world of wine are starting to collide a little bit. And I think that for a beer that I had never tasted before and a wine that I had never tasted before, I'm really pleasantly, I'm really just overall pleased with the pairing today, because both of these products here have very similar flavors and aromas to them. And I would think that if you were to put either of these in a glass in front of somebody who isn't used to drinking a sour beer re-fermented on grapes, if you were to put this beer in front of them, I think that they might not be able to identify it as necessarily a beer. They might say it's a cider. They might say it's some kind of maybe pet nat sparkling wine if they drink a lot of natural wines. Same with this wine. I think if you pour a glass of this wine for somebody who is used to drinking your very kind of traditional, classically made red wines, blind them up, have them take a sniff, have them take a taste, they might not be able to really identify to you what it is, not only from a grape perspective, or they might not even be able to tell you that it's a red wine. And I think that that was the point of the video today, and the point of these videos that I plan to do more of in the future, is talking to people about how you can experience so many unique things in the world of wine and in the world of beer that you were not anticipating you would find in either of those spaces. I think that does it today, guys. Short and sweet. I hope you enjoyed the video. I would certainly recommend taking a trip to Jester King to buy some of these styles of beer. They make Beer de Sangiovese, Syrah, Tempranillo, Blanc de Bois. They make a lot of beers like this beer with different grapes, as well as their other beers that they do with different fruits and so on and so forth. Would definitely check out Primal Wine or primalwines.com. I'll put that in the write-up on the website. Check out primalwines.com for your source for online natural wine purchases, and check out the 100% Grenache from McLaren Vale, Australia. All right, guys. Appreciate you being here. Liquid Culture, Mitchell Chirac. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.